What's up, guys? Welcome back to another one of my beautiful videos, and today we are going to be looking at 3 creative maps created in Dreams, because why not? So Dreams, for most of y'all people who don't know, if you've been living under a rock, is a game released in February 14th where it's literally just people creating games inside of a game. So you get some of the most crazy things that you would ever expect. And if you watched my The Weird Side of Dreams video, you would know that they have something with Wario for some reason. So initially, whenever I played Paper World, I thought it was going to be super lame and very bland. And to a point, it kind of is, but I'm going to explain that at the end. So Paper World is a really cool free roam RPG type game where you jump around doing parkour. Now this game ends very fast, and I wish that it was longer. It's a really fun experience, and it has some really dope music. Just listen to a little bit. And as you'd expect from a game called Paper World, it has a cutesy white and black theme. Now the only downfall for me is how fast the game actually ends, because you play and by the time you realize how to do everything and you're having a blast, the game's just kind of gone. So I hope that the developer picks up on this, maybe makes another couple Paper World games, because I had so much fun playing this game, and I'm sure he had fun making it. So Mage in the Forgotten Temple is almost like Paper World in the sense that it is an RPG where you run around, but it seems like there was an attempt to add some sort of combat system into it in one of the problems in the game. Now, I'm a simple man, so as soon as I seen a cutscene, I'm pretty sure that this dude is pretty good at making little animations or whatever because of that. But also, at the same time, he might really be an amateur because of the second thing I'm about to bring up. The text boxes. The text boxes are so freaking bright that it's hard to read some of them. Now, I played most of these games around 2 or 3 times just so I could see if there was anything I missed, and each time there's one part in the game where I could not read a single square, and I was trying to read the text inside of it until this gameplay that you're seeing right now. The very third time I realized it said something about square, and that's whenever I learned about the combat system. One thing to the advantage of the game is its style. It has like an Aztec parkour type style, and it gives me a lot of Shadows of the Colossus vibe, and that game is really cool. Now, the next thing is a really bad part of the game, and it is the parkour. I'm not saying that the parkour part of the game is bad, it's just what they do with it. In one of the jumps, you have to try to make it and double jump at the perfect time to get the little coin thing. I even collected all of them to see if anything special happened, but no. The real problem is when they try to make you jump, you get put into a weird little angle on your camera that makes it so hard to try to collect the last thing. And by the way, this is the part that I was talking about with the square. There's also this weird little rocks that appear in the end that do nothing at all. Throughout the 3 tries I had in this game to see if there's any secrets or anything, literally nothing happened with them. I guess it's just kind of a bug, but it's something to be noted. Now, Sword Spire is probably my favorite game that I played out of this list because of how fun and diverse it is. It literally has a whole story mode, and I don't think I've really ever seen a story like this one in any other Dream game besides one that were literally meant to be just like story type games. This is soul-like RPG where you run around killing skeletons, and it has a pretty decent combat system with a phase type move where you almost like go through the enemies, which you could use to kind of cheese the game as you see in the gameplay. Or maybe it was just part of his plan on how you were supposed to play the game. I don't know. The music is an old-timey but upbeat type music, so you can get in with it and you could start getting pumped up to kill some random skeletons you have nothing to do with. Surprisingly, this game was able to squeeze in 2 mini-bosses and 2 big bosses. And I say mini-bosses kind of because they are super strong enemies and you don't really see any other enemies that have that much health in the rest of the game, so I'm just gonna call it a mini-boss. Now, even though that the game consists of mostly you dashing using your phase attack thing, it can get really intense like in boss battles where you're trying to constantly dodge their attacks and or kill the little minions they may spawn. So that's another aspect to take in if you are trying to play this game. I would love to run a game like this without trying to take any damage at all, even though I'm pretty sure it would be freaking hard as hell. Now, there is this one ominous part in the game called the stone hallway, or at least that's what I'm going to call it, and just listen to the music for a little bit. In my opinion, it's really creepy, so I had to stop just to listen to it. It consists of this weird girl almost who's singing in a weird tone while drums beat menacingly in the background. And I guess it's just to get you prepped for the next stage of the fight, because there's like a whole nother level part thing that you have to beat so you can go to the final boss. Now, there is one part where it's kind of annoying, because if you get flung into the air by anything, you just die. Like, I guess it might be his attempt at adding fall damage into the game, as when you fall through little staircases at the final boss battle, you also die. But I don't know, it's just a little fishy. And my bad, there's actually 3 mini-bosses, including these skeleton dudes with a Mandalorian helmet. Now, for the scenery part of the game, it's, in my opinion, really cool. As you can see, as this long walkway type arena thing, where you have to try to get across the whole thing, and there's even little obstacles you have to go past to get to the final boss. Now, in my opinion, is the final boss too hard? No. It's exactly what you would expect out of a final boss in a Soul-like game. You die a couple of times, but then you eventually learn how to maneuver around him instead of taking damage from his attacks. And one thing I've learned with this final boss is you have to spam the hell out of your phase thing. If you didn't already have to enough on normal enemies, now you have to do it a crap ton once you see him try to do his attack. And one thing that I figured out is there's a glitch where if you run directly at him whenever you first spawn, you just instantly die. You don't get flung or anything, you just take all the damage necessary to instantly die. Now, one thing about this game is once you beat that final boss, it is super rewarding. It feels like you actually played a full game because of how long this game is and how dedicated it feels like the developer who made this was. This is a really fun game, and I expect this to have a whole lot of spin-offs and people trying to emulate it because of how well done this game is. And I hope he tries to make more, because I'm definitely going to play him if he does. Now, out of respect for the game, here is the end of me beating the boss. You made it to the end of the video, so like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed my video on my top 3 creative maps. If you have a different opinion on where you would place them, comment it down below. And if you don't get off this video, you will never win a game of Fortnite ever again.